Hello there guys, welcome to one of my videos. So according to Fabrizio Romano, Lazio are in negotiations with Manchester United to get Andreas Pereira, and Sky in Italy have said that Lazio are interested in him. Now Andreas Pereira is going to be joining Lazio on a season loan. It's going to include the option to buy for around 27 million euros, which equates to just over 24 million in pounds sterling. At the first, it said he was going to join them for around 10 million euros. And these stories are also stemming from Esporte Interactivo. And I've said, that Manchester United should sell Andreas Pereira because obviously, he doesn't get in the team now anyway. Hasn't played in any of our games so far this season. I think in the Premier League, Andreas Pereira has made around 45 appearances since breaking into our senior squad. Pereira has been part of the club for several years. He's been a United player since 2011 because we got him from PSV Eindhoven. And like I said, he's been in our senior squad since 2014. Pereira has still got a contract with us until 2023. I think there's also a 10% sell-on clause included in this deal. So this is actually no good news from a Manchester United perspective. Now, I want to delve into some news on Paul Pogba. So there's a lot of uncertainty regarding Paul Pogba's future at Manchester United. Now, as it stands at the moment, Paul Pogba's just got under a year left on his Manchester United contract, but the club do have an option to extend it for a further year. We could still get Paul Pogba a new long-term contract at the football club. Now, was it before the season started? Paul Pogba's agent Mini Raiola had come out and said that Paul Pogba wants to stay this summer and he will hold talks over a new contract. And I think we have been in negotiations over getting him a new contract. It did say a few weeks before the end of last season that Pogba was close to signing a 5-year deal with Manchester United. Fabrizio Romano had revealed a while back that, Pogba wants to stay at Manchester United because he is happy. Now, Danny Murphy has given his perception on this, and he says Paul Pogba has a defensive problem at Manchester United, and he's given the main explanation, why Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes cannot work in a team. Now, I don't think Paul Pogba's enjoyed a good start to this season, to be honest with you, because I thought he was poor against Crystal Palace. Had a few shots in the game from outside the box, but he was giving the ball away far too many times. He was also poor in the Brighton game yesterday, was Paul Pogba. But I thought towards the end of last season, he put some very, very good performances out. And his combination with Bruno Fernandes was very, very good. Now, there's some Manchester United fans that don't think, Pogba, Fernandes and Van der Beek can play in a midfield trio because obviously they are all attacking midfielders. So they have got a similar style of play and all of that. But for the vast majority of last season, I didn't really have a perception on Pogba because he was out with that ankle injury. But Pogba sustained a few injuries as a Manchester United player. This is now his 5th season at the football club since he rejoined from Juventus back in 2016. We paid £89 million for him, so as it stands at the moment, Pogba's our most expensive signing. He's one of the highest paid players at the club as well because he's on around, is it 300 grand a week or just under 300 grand a week. He has had a long running transfer saga. Around this time last year, don't forget Pogba had made an admission saying that he wanted to leave Manchester United. because he said he was seeking for a new challenge. And he was relentlessly linked with a move to Real Madrid. And he was talking a lot about Real Madrid and Zinedine Zidane. Don't forget. Obviously, Juventus have been in for Paul Pogba a few times. Don't forget, Juventus is his former club. Pogba did endure 4 exceptional years with Juventus. Swap deals were very high on the agenda because, don't forget, Juventus were willing to offer a few of their players for Pogba, so too were Real Madrid. PSG, they've been interested before, Barcelona, and also to Inter Milan. So far, Paul Pogba has won 2 trophies at the football club, and that was the Europa League and the League Cup. Paul Pogba did endure a very difficult time under the Jose Mourinho era, but all our top players endured a difficult time under the Jose Mourinho era. Don't forget, we also had Paul Pogba when he was a lot younger under the Sir Alex Ferguson era, but we had to let him go due to limited appearances. And he has made over 100 appearances for the club in all competitions since he rejoined. Earlier on this year, we was very critical of Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola. The main explanation is because he publicly criticised Solskjaer and Manchester United. So I still think, he will stay at Manchester United for at least this season. That's what I do believe. Now, I want to delve into some news on Daniel James. Now, according to Sky Sports, which is obviously a reliable source, they've said that Daniel James wants to stay at Manchester United and fight for his place, despite, Leeds United's interest. Now, Leeds have obviously, inquired about getting Daniel James permanently for around £12 million. Now, it's obviously, saying that Leeds want to get him on loan. Probably, with the option or the obligation to buy at the end of the loan. Now, don't forget, back in January 2019, Daniel James was very, very close to joining Leeds United. I think everything had been agreed, like I mentioned, but obviously, Swansea had pulled out right at the final hurdle. And obviously, in June last year, we got Daniel James in a deal worth around £18 million. Daniel James did sign a 5-year deal with Man United with an option of a further year. I think so far Daniel James has played around 47 games for us in all competitions. But he did play a lot of games for us last season, and from my own perception, I think Solskjaer overplayed him. But towards the end of last season, he wasn't really getting his chances. And especially if we are to sign a winner before this summer transfer window shuts, Daniel James, definitely won't get into the team. So that's the breaking news on him. Daniel James can play on the left wing, he can play on the right wing. And when we've played him, we have put him on that right wing a lot, but he's supposed to be more effective from that left-hand side. Yeah. Now I want to delve into some news on Jadon Sancho from Borussia Dortmund. So these reports coming out saying that Manchester United are going to put a bid in for Jadon Sancho next week. It's obviously going to be our final bid. We're going to offer around £90 million, but it said we're going to offer around 75 million up front with 15 million in add-ons. So there's still a good chance that Manchester United could get Sancho. Obviously, Sancho is our number one priority target. You can understand Solskjaer's frustration regarding the Jadon Sancho transfer saga, because it's been a long-running transfer saga. We have been in for him for like the last 3 years. Don't forget, Sancho did recently say that he's desperate to link up with Harry Maguire, Rashford and Mason Greenwood. Because obviously Sancho knows them really, really well. And I've already outlined the reasons why I want Sancho at the football club is because he will exceed expectations if he comes to the Premier League. He's also got a very, very good friendship with Rashford, and Sancho did recently say that, Rashford's the most skillful player he's played with. He's predominantly a right winger, And Man United obviously need a right winger. And he's still very, very young. Now, Fabrizio Romano, he's spoken about the Jadon Sancho transfer saga quite a few times, and he still believes that Manchester United, can get him. And he believes that Sancho wants to come to Manchester United. Now, obviously, with this news regarding Pereira, Fabrizio Romano believes we've got a better chance of getting him on the board. David Ornstein from The Athletic recently gave us an update on Sancho, and he said that the terms have been agreed on a long-term contract. Christian Falk, he's obviously spoken about the Jadon Sancho transfer saga quite a few times. Borussia Dortmund's valuation has been around £108 million. And throughout the course of this Jadon Sancho transfer saga, it has been Borussia Dortmund's asking price that has been the stumbling block, because we've not been determined to meet what they are demanding. Obviously, if this bid next week that we put in becomes successful, Sancho will be our most expensive signing, and he'll be the most expensive English player in history. From my own perception, Sancho's an exceptional player, but I just don't think he's worth what Dortmund have been demanding. I think he's probably worth from between 60 to 70 million pounds. Solskjaer has held several talks with Jadon Sancho, and we was hoping to get Sancho by the Crystal Palace game, but obviously it never happened. Quite a few weeks ago, was it now? 3-4 weeks ago, Sancho to Manchester United did look dead in the water, because it had mentioned that we had abandoned our chase for the player until the summer of 2021, and we missed out on the deadline to get him, because Dortmund said last month that we had until the 10th of August to sign the player. Obviously, didn't do that, so Sancho decided to go out on pre-season. We know that we're going to be giving him the number 7, because we've obviously got number 7 vacant at the moment. But like I've said to you before, we have had a lot of good number 7s up and down the generations. We also have been looking at alternatives. We've had 4 alternatives recently on our agenda, and that's Ivan Perisic, Ousmane Dembele, Antoine Vieira, Ismail Assar. Dortmund are also recently been interested in Ismail Assar, but I will make an admission there's cheaper solutions than Sancho. Sancho's still got a contract with Dortmund until 2022. Sancho's enjoyed around 3 years with them. I think this is now his 4th season with Dortmund. Sebastian Kehl, Borussia Dortmund's head of football, said not so long ago that Sancho won't be leaving, and he will be staying at Dortmund for this season. Lucien Favre, Borussia Dortmund's boss, a few weeks ago now said that Sancho's staying. And the other month, Michael Zorg, their sporting director, also said that Sancho is staying and the decision is final. But Dortmund will make a huge profit on the player if he's sold. Because Dortmund only paid £8 million in from Man City. But the main explanation why his valuation has gone up, is reflecting how good he's been. And the main explanation he left Manchester City is because he didn't get assured any first team opportunities. So that is the breaking news on Jadon Sancho. You already know the news on Alex Tellez from Porto. We are still convinced we can sign Alex Tellez. Fabrizio Romano did recently reveal that, negotiations are still ongoing between Manchester United and Porto. Alex Tellez has agreed a 5-year contract with the football club worth around €4 million a year, which I think equates to around, £70,000 a week. As far as I'm aware at the moment, no fee though has come to an agreement. It did actually say Porto want around 18 million, or is it just over 18 million pounds? We try to convince Porto to reduce their asking price to around 12 million pounds, and even Tellez himself has urged Porto to lower their asking price. But Tellez's release clause is around 36 million pounds. Now we might have to end up paying around 20 odd million pounds for Alex Tellez. A few weeks ago, his agent was in Manchester to thrash out a deal for his client to join Manchester United. Tellez has just got 10 months left on his current contract with Porto, so from a Porto perspective, they'd want to cash in for him now rather than letting go on a free next year. So it will be beneficial if we can get him in, because he's predominantly a left-back and Manchester United are in search for a left-back. We've got 2 predominant left-backs in the team at the moment, and that's Luke Shaw, he's our first choice left-back, and Brandon Williams, he's our backup left-back and that. But like I said, there's just under a week now. Oh, sorry, just under 2 weeks now, until the summer transfer window shuts. And so far, Manchester United have only made 1 signing, and that was Donny van de Beek from Ajax. Don't get me wrong, Donny van de Beek has enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. He really, really has. He did well in the 1-0 defeat to Villa in pre-season. He did well when he came on in the 3-1 defeat to Palace. Scored on his Premier League debut. Also did well in the Luton Town game, and also did well yesterday against Brighton when he came on. But what a signing he is, but Solskjaer did reveal that he wants Man United to make around 2 or 3 more signings after Donny van de Beek. And Solskjaer has been infuriated with our lack of transfer business. But, that blame obviously stems from the board, Woodward and the Glazers. Maybe you can even say that Matt Judge is accountable for some of the failures of transfers as well. Patrice Evra was recently talking, he launched a stunning attack on Woodward, the Glazers and Matt Judge. But Solskjaer has been frustrated with the board, obviously, because I think up until this point, Solskjaer's not been backed enough as Manchester United manager, and I think he does deserve more backing. And I think he will get that backing next week, because we're supposedly going to be signing Sancho and Alex Tellez, and we'll be spending over £100 million on them 2 players. But the main explanations why we've been critical of the board for several years, is reflecting on how poor our recruitment policy's been, because it has been poor for so many years. Because obviously, a lot of the players that we've brought in the last 7 years haven't been the right calibre players for Man United, and we've recruited over 30-odd players in since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. There's also players that we've missed out on over the years who we should have obviously, got in. Under Solskjaer, we've missed out on quite a few of our targets. We obviously missed out on Jack Grealish because a few weeks ago he signed a 5-year deal with Aston Villa. We also missed out on Sergio Reguilon. He went to Tottenham. We missed out on Bale. He went back to Tottenham. We missed out on Erling Haaland in January. And we also missed out on Jude Bellingham. There was also players that were missed out on under the Jose Mourinho era. Koulibaly, we missed out on him under the Jose Mourinho era. There's also players that were missed out on under the David Moyes era. Tony Cruz, we should have got him, I think, under Moyes. Cesc Fabregas, we also tried to get him under the David Moyes era. Thiago Alcantara, we also should have got him under the David Moyes era as well. And there was also quite a few targets we missed out on under the Sir Alex Ferguson era. Aaron Ramsey back in 2008. We should have got him, never did. At one point went in for Alan Shearer under Ferguson, obviously, never brought him in that. But our recruitment was very, very good under the Sir Alex Ferguson era anyway, because Ferguson obviously, brought the right players in, didn't he? But since he retired, it just hasn't been good. We've also overpaid for players in recent years, I want to mention as well. We've obviously paid the likes of 8 to 9 million for Pogba, £80 million for Harry Maguire, 52 million for Fred, 40 million for Matic, 75 million pounds for Romano Lukaku. We've got Wan-Bissaka for around 50 million pounds. And I just think, the managers that we've had since Ferguson retired, haven't been backed enough. And I think there's also, some contracts we've given players to. There's some players we've given new contracts to, who we shouldn't have given new contracts to. But there again, there's some players, we give contracts to who deserve new contracts. And there's a lot of Manchester United fans, that are demanding the board out. And another one in my element of concerns as well is that, there's teams around us that have been doing very, very good recruitment. Chelsea, they've done very, very good business so far, but they're not doing so well, surprisingly. Liverpool, they've made some good signings. City have obviously made a couple of signings. Arsenal, they've made a couple of signings. Tottenham, they've also made a few signings. Even Leeds United, they've even made some good signings as well. Everton, I've also got to mention them. They've made some good signings. But I did say to you, didn't I? I think, we need at least 2 more signings before this summer transfer window shuts if we are to mount any title challenge up this season. Because we haven't marked any title challenge up in the last 7 years. So that just proves how inconsistent we have been, and we have not won the Premier League since 2013. To be honest, I think we are at least 3 to 4 years off, maybe even 5 years off from winning the Premier League title. Obviously, it's going to take a long rebuilding process. But, prior to the start of this season, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was saying that he's got a lot of confidence going on into this season, from where he left off last season. Because to be fair, last season, Solskjaer did exceed most of his expectations. Obviously got us qualification for the Champions League. And I did say how important Champions League qualification was for our players, attracting players in for the financial structure. We also finished third. That's the second highest we've finished since the Ferguson era. And we also progressed to 3 semi-finals. At the first part of last season, we enjoyed our worst start ever to a Premier League season. At that point, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was very close to getting sacked as Manchester United manager. But we've played 3 games so far this season. Obviously, we played the Crystal Palace one, lost by 3-1. That was our worst defeat on an opening day of a Premier League season since 1995, which is 25 years ago now. And I presume after that game, there'd have been Man United fans criticising Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because I think in a lot of games at Manchester United, to be fair, he has been very tactically naive. So Solskjaer's decision-making has got to improve. And then obviously, we beaten Luton Town by 3-0 in the Carabao Cup third round. Man United were always expected to win that game anyway. We'd made a lot of changes in that Luton game, didn't we? We saw Dean Henderson making his full debut for the club. Donny van de Beek, he obviously, made his full debut for the club as well. And, we beat Brighton yesterday by 3-2. Oh yeah, we was very, very lucky. Even Solskjaer made that admission saying, we was lucky to win that game yesterday against Brighton. Because like I said, we got that penalty, didn't we? VAR had intervened in giving it. Obviously, Harry Maguire had headed it on and it was a handball from Maupay. Solly Marcher cleared it off the line and the whistle went. And then the penalty had been given after the final whistle. So the game did actually end 2-2. It did. But Bruno Fernandes did score the penalty in the 100th minute of the game. But I think even reflecting on that win, there'll be still some Manchester United fans now, saying Solskjaer's not the right man and demanding him out of the football club. Like I've said to you, I can't give you much of a perception on him yet. I've got to delve more into the season for me to give you more of a perception on him. But I always said, we needed to give him more time at the football club. This is Solskjaer's second full season at Manchester United. And obviously he knows that he's got to exceed his expectations this season if he is to remain in the Manchester United job. Like I said, one of the expectations this season will be to win a trophy, obviously, because we've not yet won out in terms of silverware under the Solskjaer era. and we haven't won a trophy for over 3 years. I think this is the first time this has happened in like 31 years. And like I said, if we can make a couple of more signings, then maybe we're expected to mount a title challenge up. Or maybe, if not that, then our expectation will be just to finish, in the top four, maybe, so we can get qualification for the Champions League. But I said to you, didn't I, what would represent a good season? That would be to finish in the top 2 or top 3 and win a trophy. That would be a good season for Manchester United. But if we continue performing like we have been doing recently, then I don't think, we're going to achieve this. I really, really don't. Because also some players are accountable as well. And there's still certain players at Manchester United that have got to step up to the plate. That's one admission I will make. But we've also got to focus on the outgoings in this summer transfer window as well as the incomings. Because I recently said, didn't I, departures are proving to be difficult. The news down Andres Pereira, it's looking likely, he's going to be going to Lazio, so that's positive news. But we're still looking to get rid of the likes of Jesse Lingard, despite Solskjaer wanting him to stay. Lingard has been part of the club for several years, hasn't he? But he doesn't get in the team lot now anyway. Don't forget there was a period where Lingard didn't score 1 goal or provided 1 assist in the Premier League for over a year. Recently, it said, that Tottenham have been in advanced talks to sign Jesse Lingard. There was rumours saying that Tottenham were going to put around the £30 million bid in for him because Jose Mourinho's keen on reuniting with the player. Lingard's got just under a year left on his Man United contract, but the club do have an option to extend it for a further year. Smalling, he's another one. I heard that Roma are going to be putting a new bid in soon. Unless this bid's been submitted, I don't know. But the first bid they're putting, Roma, was around £12 million. But this had been turned down by us because I think we said we want around £18 million for Chris Smalling. Solskjaer did say during our Europa League campaign that, Smalling does still have a future at Man United and all of that. And he was in regular contact with him whilst he was out on loan with Roma last season. And he was saying prior to the Brighton game, he was asked, prior to the Brighton game, is Smalling going to be part of the first team plans if his move to Rome doesn't happen? And he says, we'll just have to see what happens. Smalling's been at Manchester United now for a good 9 or 10 years because he's been with us since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. A lot of United fans think he's better than Victor Lindelof. I think Rojo is also another player that needs to go. Romano, don't forget he's open to leaving the football club because Romano is now third choice goalkeeper, Diego Dalot. I think Manchester United have also got to get rid of him. I said we've got to sell players because we'll generate money and it'll help us with our rebuilding process, and quite frankly, there is still deadwood at the football club. But to be fair, Solskjaer has got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he got recommended into Manchester United. He's also made good signings so far. He spent around £240 million at the football club so far as Solskjaer. And like I said, this is his 4th transfer window and his 2nd summer transfer window as Manchester United. Last summer made 3 signings. January obviously made 2 signings. Well, he got a Gallo on loan, didn't he? And so far we've made 1 signing in this summer transfer window. He's also brought a few academy players into the football club, and it's good that a lot of young players are coming through at Manchester United, isn't it? But I said to didn't I, when Solskjaer first came into the club, he was inheriting a squad that was worth £700 million, including what Solskjaer spent. We've nearly spent £1 billion in the last 7 years on players, haven't we? But there's a lot of players, that Manchester United will keep. We have got a good, we've got good players in our team. Like I mentioned, Martial's very, very good. Rashford's very, very good. Greenwood's very, very good. Williams is very, very good. Fred McTominay, Matic are good now, and they'll stay at Manchester United for at least another season or 2, I believe. Pogba's good, but he hasn't done good so far this season. I think the signings Solskjaer's brought in have been very good, and we'll obviously keep them prior to Daniel James, obviously, because Daniel James could still possibly leave the football club. But like I said, he wants to stay. Luke Shaw will stay, because I think Luke Shaw's really improved under Solskjaer. Bay, he'll stay for at least another season. My only element of concern about Bay is that he's injury prone. Victor Lindelof, he's got to improve. He really, really has. He was accountable for all 3 goals in our 3-1 defeat to Palace. But he'll stay for another season, like I mentioned. I think Tuanzebe will stay. De Gea, he'll stay for at least another season as well. Igalo, he'll stay till January 2021. Mata, I think he'll also stay for at least another season. So there's a lot of players that will stay at Manchester United. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.